Hi, good evening, dear friends. This is Efrat from Jerusalem. Welcome, everyone. I would like to tell you tonight about a special event that is taking place this week in Israel, which called the campaign or the journey for a global peace of initiation called It's About Time. It's leading by two people, Israeli guy named Maoz Inon and Palestinian guys called Aziz Abu Sara. Both of them, since the 7th of October, leading a personal and public campaign against revenge and for reconciliation. Inon lost his two parents on the 7th of October, and Aziz lost his big brother during the year of the Intifada. Both of them came with the idea to arrange the biggest peace conference, which will take place in Tel Aviv on the 1st of July. And they are gathering lots of people, hundreds of people, to the civilian event, not politically. They had a very special and exciting open conversation in one of TED shows. They met the Pope and many leaders of the world. And um, the main idea is to lead a campaign for peace, which comes from the people, not from governments. So they have a campaign journey that started this 4th of December and will finish tomorrow, where they have a big bus, few buses, with the slogan, "It's About Time," going through many places in Israel and in Palestinian places. So I guess this is a very big seed of hope. Thank you.
Thank you, Efrat. Yes, it is about time, isn't it? Yeah. And in Syria, our neighboring country, the fall of Bashar al-Assad 2 days ago creates an unknown situation. The violence of his regime and the violence of his opponents, of the different rebel factions, one opposite the other, all this is happening in a country weakened by an unstable regime. I am not an expert, but I'm just giving a little simple snapshot of what I perceive is going on around us. So Syria, which is on the headlines now, is very much weakened. The regime has been unstable for a long time, and also ongoing conflicts of different factions of rebels against the regime. It has been unstable also by a big humanitarian crisis, by millions of people, of displaced refugees. They lack basic services. They're scattered, populations scattered in neighboring countries. And there are those that still live in camps with little water and food and no health assistance. Syria now is a country threatened, undergoing economic collapse and influenced by external forces like Russia and Iran on one hand, the United States on the other, Turkey in the middle, each one pulling the strings in its own direction. Plus its traditional enmity with Israel. And together with this collapse that is happening now, there is already, and it's so fast, a budding will on behalf of the people to create a new and more stable Syria. And we are so far from that. But at least there are calls on all parties involved to renounce violence and resolve issues through politics and negotiations. There are also calls from some Arab countries and from Russia, and I don't know what about the Western world, but definitely there's a call not to interfere in its internal affairs. It's a huge, complex task ahead. Maybe something that can resonate with what Efrat said. It's about time, to begin some process different than violence. So maybe we can hold this movement into the light. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Efrat and Helen, for this snapshot of what's going on. Yes, and we from outside, we can do our part by just holding space, holding a lighted space for this, what needs to happen now, what will happen in Syria, all this hardship, all this chaos, and hopefully, as you say, Helen, these forces that work towards some integrity in Syria. There's a lot of diplomacy going on behind the scenes. Let's hope that the bigger players will somehow come up with a vision, with a plan together instead of one against the other for the Syrian people and for the whole Middle East. Okay, so let us prepare for our part. So we start with a deep breath. Settling into our body. Into our own innermost safe space. being calm and alert, heart open, mind focused in the center of the head, aligned as the soul in incarnation. Coming together in the group heart, feeling our group heart pulsing, being a magnet, unifying magnet. And bringing also our minds together, weaving them together into one telepathic resonant field. And standing together as souls in the will to peace. And being aware of being part of the planetary web, the Ajna planet, Ajna center of the planet, together with our co-workers in all nations, the one planetary server. Sense for a moment the presence, the potency of this growing group. And as part of this group, let us now attune with our higher co-workers who guide this work. Feeling this support, this cooperation. Taking a moment to fill our group heart with that higher vibration, this all-inclusive love. This grace. And experience our group mind being filled with the light of discernment. So we step now into our service function on behalf of the Middle East, standing at the midway point between the higher forces and the condition on the ground. We turn our eyes to this condition on the ground, sensing this whole field of consciousness, mainly Arab Muslim. This turmoil that is at the moment focused in Syria. Taking a moment just to observe all these different groupings on the ground, Syrian population and these different groups fighting for some power, and getting a sense also of the outer, the bigger players in the background. Just observing the different mental streams, ideologies, beliefs, and the astral streams, all these high intensity emotions. We stay on our midway point, looking at this whirlpool. It may well be seen as the solar plexus center on our planet. See it in this wider context. And now, from our midway point, let us for a moment turn our eyes upwards, enveloped within the consciousness of our higher co-workers. Let us now tune towards the divine plan, towards the intended design for the Middle East. And let us take a few moments, allowing our higher guides and co-workers to impress us with their wider vision. Holding now this wider vision, whatever we can grasp of it, as a seed of hope. And at the same time, hold the condition on the ground and bring these two together. Bring them into relation, the intended design and the outer condition, and hold it in our group awareness, the potential and the actual. Create a pathway between them and seeing energies flowing between them, ordering as above, so below. See and sense a shaft of pure golden white light, broad and brilliant, flood West Asia. See a huge column of light pouring through all planes. Hold this column steady in the will to peace. See soul light flood the mental sphere of the Middle East. Visualize the mental forces in the area becoming receptive to it, aligning to an inclusive soul vision. Every human life is sacred. We need to talk to figure this out together. See soul light pouring through into the emotional sphere of the Middle East, touching hearts, soothing, holding hope, hope in human respect, in human decency, no matter what background. And see the soul light pouring through into the etheric physical plane of the Middle East, penetrating into the earth, touching these ancient separative patterns, working to disintegrate them. It is time. And let us just hold another minute this transmuting process underway within the entire pillar of light. Visualize it happening in all these different groups, all these different collective entities in the Middle East. And strengthening the shifts of consciousness wanting to take place. Holding this process in our awareness, while we do know that the conflict must play itself out and will play for some time longer. And we stand witness to this process of destruction. And holding in our awareness the picture of this conflict playing itself out towards eventual harmony. Of this solar plexus dynamics being in the end transformed into heart, gesture, heart wisdom, heart care. And we hold this intention as we sound the great invocation in Hebrew and in Arabic.
מנקודת האור אשר בדעת אל, יזרום האור אל דעת האדם. ירד האור על פני האדמה. מנקודת האהבה אשר בלב האל, תזרום האהבה אל לבבות אנוש. ישוב מורה עולם על פני האדמה. מהמרכז שבו נודע רצון האל, תנחה תכלית את רצונות אדם. תכלית אותה מורי האנושות יודעים ומשרתים. מהמרכז אשר נקרא המין האנושי, תוגשם תוכנית האהבה והאור, ויחתם הפתח אל הרע. יהי רצון, ויחדשו אור, אהבה ועוצמה, את התוכנית על פני האדמה. אמן.
من نقطة النور في العقل الإلهي ليشع النور في عقول الناس وليهبط النور إلى الأرض. من نقطة الحب في القلب الإلهي ليتسرب الحب في قلوب الناس وليرجع معلم الكون إلى الأرض. من المركز الذي تعرف منها إرادة الله لتقود الغاية إرادة الناس البسيطة، تلك الغاية والتي يدركها المعلمون ويخدمونها. من المركز الذي ندعون بالجنس البشري لينتج تسمين الحب والنور ويختم على الباب الذي يقيم به الشر، ليجدد النور والحب والقوة التسمين على الأرض. الله آمين.
Mm. Mm.